Hey y'all, and welcome to another Why You Like This Song. Today's song is Love in High Places by Kimbra. And this song was suggested by subscriber Mary Songstress, who said that this song played at her wedding, so I'm going to try to do a really good job on this one. If you haven't watched one of these videos, what I do is I listen to the song and I do a little reaction, and then I do a little analysis of some of the music theory stuff that makes this song great. Of course, I'm going to try to keep it simple and not overcomplicate things for those of us that don't know as much about music theory. I should also say that I won't be playing the whole song, but if you'd like to hear the whole song, I'll leave a link in the description. At this point, it'd be awesome if you would subscribe to the channel, like the video, turn on that little notification bell, and hey, why not share it as well? And without further ado, here's the song. All right, coming in with a pretty strong beat here. Good use of dynamic changes there.
There's a space that I'm saving.
Cool little bass line there.
There is a place that I'm saving. We can't stay for long. I will be your lotus. Going slow so you don't notice.
Cool. I want that to happen again.
There's a space that I'm saving.
Ooh, I like that little dot, dot.
There is a place
that
I'm craving.
All kind of cool background vocals. Ooh, changing up that bass line. Each of these sections is mixed differently. I like it. Loving that little synth melody here.
I will be your danger. When you think nothing
another cool break.
It's pyrotechnical, physical, way I rock your mental.
Yeah, I'm loving that.
There's a space that I'm saving, 'cause we can't stay for long. Find me in the forest, find me in the midst of your design.
Cool.
Find me in the sacred, in the pain. Find me in
oh, bringing those stops back even in the chorus. I like it. Alright, little bridge. Jeez. Ooh, I wonder who produced this. Ooh, I wonder if it was like Thundercat or Flying Lotus. There's some deceptive bass going on here. Alright, I'm gonna have to look that up. That's cool. This is a cool tune. Ooh. Ooh, fluttering that little bass at the end. Cool. Man, that's not what I expected at all. I've only heard Kimbra working with other artists, and genuinely pleased with that. I mean, that was really cool. Lots of layers in vocals, lots of layers in bass, good build-ups, good drops. All right, that was a good suggestion. And of course, I took notes in my handy dandy notebook. So let's talk about a few things. And the first thing I want to talk about in this song is the great use of dynamics. Well, what are dynamics? Dynamics are how soft or how loud you play a song, which can also include silence. Now, at the beginning of this song, we get a really cool drum part, and we get some synths and this bass, and it's kind of giving us a cool intro. But then as soon as the vocals come in, what do? Boom, drop down soft. And then when we get to the chorus, we come back up. right? There's actually a little come up halfway through the first verse too, so we're building in levels. And that's a really great tool for projecting music to make it interesting to our audience. But one of the best tools is the use of silence. This song has these little dropouts for like a beat or so that can really be cool because you're sitting there flowing and grooving along and all of a sudden it's like, what? Oh, right, okay. And when people do that in songs, a lot of times it's to accentuate the lyrics. Now, I know that the person that suggested this song mentioned it was in a wedding, which means there's probably some lyrics that are very special to these occasions, but the point of this channel is not to dive too deep into the lyrics. We're really here to talk about the instruments and the music and how it's all constructed. But when we have these stops, they do tend to accentuate lyrics in the song. So let's listen to one of those and see if that's what happens.
Find me in the sacred.
All right, so there you go. We had that stop, gave us that cool break from the groove, and then of course, what'd she say? In the pain. In the pain, that's gotta be a intense lyric, right? So that's a great opportunity to both enhance our lyrics and change up the flow of the song and give us something interesting to dig to. And speaking of her voice, there are lots of layers of vocal parts in this song. There, of course, are your traditional harmonies, which are two voices singing the same words on different notes at the same time, causing chords. But there are all these other little filler dot-dot-das and oohs and stuff that are really nice. And she also switches back and forth between different voice sounds. So let's listen to one of those sections and check out those vocals.
There's a space that I'm saving. Gotta keep it strong. There is a place that I'm craving.
So just in that little clip we heard those da, da, of course the main lead vocal, but then when she switches the lyric there about keeping it strong, she changes her voice tone and it comes in out of a different side of the speakers. And then of course, da, 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 that little part in the background there. Cool use of all of these different layers that really keep it interesting and essentially kind of turn the voice into an instrument, which in this song is kind of necessary considering there's a drum beat, a bass part, and a pad, and that's it. There's vocals, so she's got to cover all the other little interesting stuff, at least in parts of the song. Speaking of bass, it's bass corner, y'all. Wait, this is a pop song. Why are we talking about bass corner? Most of the time, pop songs have the most simple bass lines of all time. Most of the time. During the reaction, I might have mentioned like Flying Lotus or Thundercat. It's because the production style, but also the bass at the end, which we'll listen to in just a second, just sounds like something that Flying Lotus or Thundercat would play. Thundercat is one of only 2 bass players I've ever seen live where I spent the entire show doing this. It was him and Victor Wooten. And if you don't know Victor Wooten, well, you should. And Thundercat also produces, like Flying Lotus, some electronic music. And I found out after doing just like a few seconds of research that Thundercat is on this album. There's not a very clear track listing. I mean, it's a pop album, that usually happens. And I don't know for sure if that's Thundercat playing the bass on the end, but he is a songwriter on a couple of songs in this album and is involved in the album. So leads me to believe that the bass part at the end that sounds like Thundercat, it's probably Thundercat. So let's take a listen to that. So good. I mean, that was just awesome bass playing there at the end, and it kind of actually sucks that they saved it for the end, but at least they left it on the track because it's awesome. There is another bass part on this track that's more of an electronic sounding part, and it kind of gets blended in at points even with the regular bass part, but there's one underrated bass part that I want to point out that's in the first verse. So let's take a listen to that.
I will be your savior when no one will save ya. Be a shining light.
Now it's very soft, bum, up high on the bass too, so it's even hard to tell that it's a bass. And there's another note, bum, ba-da-da-dum, bum. Very soft in the mix, very deceptive, but if you're paying attention, you'll hear it. As I mentioned before, this is a pop song, and so verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. There is sort of a bridge in this tune, but it's really an instrumental section, and it features this cool lead synth, although there is a really cool synth behind that lead synth as well. Let's go ahead and take a listen to that section and listen for both synth layers. Sure, the main synth is going to be very easy to hear, but let's listen for that other synth. So I know you heard the ba-da-da-da-da-da synth, but did you hear the way high synth in there as well? If not, maybe go back and give it another listen. It's really cool. Again, here we are just layering things up like we mentioned in the vocals earlier, giving us lots of ear candy, lots of stuff to go, ooh, what's that? Ooh, what's that? Ooh, what's that? What was that? And that makes it really cool and interesting, and it grabs your attention. Then we bring those dynamics back down and get us back into the groove, which I think is pretty awesome. All right, so commenter Jack Aldridge on another video asked, why don't I play the instruments that are in the background? Well, this is the one that you always see in the background, so I'm gonna play it. But also because I want to play this bass part because it's fun. So a lot of times a bass part will start on 1. In this instance, it doesn't, which gives it kind of a cool vibe and a cool feeling that's different than what we're used to. When I say starts on 1, of course, I'm talking about in a 4/4 measure, beat 1 out of 4. But you're going to hear after I count off before I play that I'm going to start after 1, which gives it a cool feeling. So here we go. 2, 3, 4, 1. Now that might not be exactly the way it's played because I just heard this song like 10 minutes ago, but I think I got it pretty close. Really a pretty groovy bass line. Not that the earlier electronic bass line isn't groovy too, but you know, I like to hear real bass. But of course, obviously the real good stuff, you know, that part at the end that I'm probably gonna listen to a billion times because, you know, it's awesome. All right, that was a pretty cool song. And since this was used in a wedding, I'm pretty sure the lyrics are probably meaningful and deep. But you already know the lyrics if you requested this song. You came here to hear other stuff. And so throughout this, with those dynamic buildups, and we got the drops, and the cool bass lines, plural, and the great layers of vocals, it really comes together to make a great song that, while it is a pop song, doesn't really come across as a straightforward pop song. But then again, pop music is in every genre. There are heavy metal pop songs. Obviously, there are hip-hop pop songs. There are country pop songs. Basically, when we say a pop song, we are talking about verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. And so while this isn't your standard party in the USA, you know, let's go jam at the club pop song, it's still a great, great pop song. And it uses all of these different elements to make it great and make me interested in it versus, like, you know, the other stuff. You know what I mean. Thanks for the suggestion. That was awesome. And I made this video because they left a suggestion in the comments. So if you made it this far in the video and you would like to hear why you like a song, well then do the same. And while you're there, go ahead and subscribe, like the video, turn on that notification bell, and hey, why not share it? And of course, as always, I'll go ahead and sign off by saying, see you in the future.